Hi, mateys, this is Captain Povenmire speaking with ya. We're going on an online literature circle odyssey on a journey to empowerment. So first, you have to start the journey. But why should you even start the journey? Well, interacting with reading creates social meaning, and using technology like computers or iPads is something that many students are familiar with. When they have the familiarity, it allows them to freely exchange ideas and to communicate in a broader sense than in most other places. So you'll first start off on the left side of the screen, where it talks about selecting a book and beginning the dialogue. You select your ship, essentially, and your crew, and you learn the tools of the trade. You learn how to use the discussion board, and that gives students a sense of ownership and a sense of pride in their vessel. As you travel, there are 5 kinds of islands you can experience. I would try to point to them, but I'm holding the camera and I don't want to drop it. So, first of all, in the purple, you've got Experiential Isle. These are based on schema. Schema is what students know and their background information. These kind of questions are easy for students to answer because they have prior knowledge of the topic. They are able to apply what they know to the questions. Very easy for them. And you may need to provide some kind of background information for the students who don't have that. And you know what? That's okay. Moving onward, we have Aesthetic Key. These are the heartfelt questions, the ones that really strike a nerve. They can be the touchy-feely, how did you feel, kind of emotional questions, or they can be the hot-button topics. Either way, they will get students talking and put them in the driver's seat, if you will, the captain's chair. These kind of questions are more heartfelt, so they pull at your heartstrings. Alright, you'll notice that our third island has sharks around it. It's a bit blurry and I apologize, but this is Cognitive Cave. These questions use comprehension skills like cause and effect, inference, synthesis. These questions. Students find these to be like textbook questions and very boring, but they're still essential to student learning. That's why the sharks are around it. They're always prowling and no one really wants to go to that island. But this is where we as teachers can assess if they're using the skills or not. Mostly ignored by students but highly valued by teachers. Not very many of these questions get asked. There is one that asks even fewer questions, but we'll get to it in a moment. It's the one that's farthest out. That's clarification point. However, let's move on to the interpretive beach. Interpretive beach features those critical thinking skills and higher order thinking skills like synthesis, analysis, and emphasis. And by emphasis, I mean elaboration and expansion. Students have to justify and clarify their answers on this beach, and they need to extend their thinking beyond just the literal. They need to dig into the text and provide more concrete examples, perhaps bringing in 2 or more texts, comparing 2 texts side by side. Either way, they're having to use their values and their morals to make a judgment. Lastly, we have Clarification Point. Clarification Point is the most rarely visited of the islands. It's where students ask for help or they ask for insight as to find an answer. Many students will prefer to go to the text or to appear in person, but some questions pop up on the online forum on the ship. And these all lead to the completion of the project. You'll note that swimming around there is a rare wild LOL and a U and a smiley face and the letter B and the number 4 right beside each other. The internet is invading the ocean space as we speak. It's gone beyond cyberspace into the aquaspace, if you will. It's how students express who they are and how they interact with each other. While it can be frustrating, especially when they have to write formal papers and later on in life, this is acceptable for the medium it uses. It's like Facebook for them. It's what they're familiar with and they feel they can express themselves best. You will need to differentiate between what formal paper writing looks like and what is acceptable for the discussion board. In addition to that, you'll have the wild winds of expectations and rules blowing over. This is a completely student-run discussion board. The teacher can facilitate and moderate, but it's up to the students to ask questions. They need to be submitted by the students to the teacher, the ultimate captain, if you will, to make sure that they're appropriate and that they work. It allows students to practice questioning, to practice elaborating on their answers, and students with guidelines can pretty much make it work. They have to reply based on text, and support the answer with questions and information from the text, but students do a fairly good job of policing themselves. Alright, about to cast off ship. Ahoy, and may the winds of good fortune be with you on this journey to empowerment. Remember, by doing this, we allow the students to take control of their own reading and to give them the reins and allow them to explore and question for themselves. Brings deeper comprehension. Ahoy, mateys. Thanks. Bye.